you've got a gift. She's like, yeah, but what if that gets taken away? And I remember the day that I received the call that I got this thing, the Judy Garland story kept coming up. And I remember I called my manager that evening after I'd gotten the yes. And I was like, can you just like talk me off the ledge for a second? Because I know that like it's a yes. And like, but I keep on hearing the Judy Garland thing, like, yeah, it's a gift, so it can be taken away. And she was like, nope, it's yours. Like it's, and then 10 a.m. the next morning, Heather, I don't even know how to tell you this. And I knew. So I think that there was a little subconscious or higher conscious thing that was like, pump the brake, kid, like just a little bit, because you actually are kind of correct in this assessment, you know. So it's also a lesson in terms of trusting your like, what is the difference between an intuitive thought and just internalized fear mongering.
Yeah.
And in this space, it was most certainly an intuitive thought, you know. And I think also there's that idea of actors, and I'm talking actors, not personalities. We give so much of ourselves because that's just what we've been trained to do. It's how we've been conditioned. You know, it's an offering. It's an offering to the it's an offering to the life that I've personally lived. It's an offering from the writer, and it's a group offering to the public of this is my heart. This is all of it for you to be able to receive it. And I think that when you do that for a long time, like a doctor doesn't need to prove himself that he's an excellent heart surgeon when he's been doing it for 30 years. There's a, you know, he doesn't have to like, it's like, oh my God, he's one of the top. He's great at what he does. We know he's immensely talented. And he doesn't need to, he needs to continually prove himself as an excellent heart surgeon in the OR or what have you. But he doesn't need to be like, wait, no, I'm a doctor. I've got that. Like, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's a bit different. It's that continual like needing to prove myself. And I feel that like, I was at this again after that thing. It was like, fuck. Like I have no problem auditioning. I have no problem doing this shit. Like I'm more than happy to do it. But at some point, it's like, haven't I proven myself enough in terms of my capability as an artist, as an actor?
Right. Did that go away? Like it's no longer happening, or it went away? Like the studio said, we're going with this actress over here.
Oh, it went away. It completely went away. It completely went away. And I was in a dark space for a few months, you know, like it was heartbreaking, you know. And also I'm so used to, because rejection is like the name of the game in this industry. And, you know, I am fluent in rejection. And that's not, I don't normally get upset or whatever, because I think it's like, okay, the universe is being like, redirection, this is not for you. But it hits a little different when it is for you. And you know it's for you, and then you know the decision that was made has nothing to do with you and has to do with executives that are making fear-based decisions because of shareholders.
Right. Do you want to give us any more information than
No,
that?
I don't.
I didn't think you did. I mean, that's why I'm casually asking, you know. Yes, I mean, I get it. But, and this isn't any disrespect to you, but it was like, you just knew it was like life-changing of like, oh, you're going to play Superman. You're going to play Superwoman. This is Shonda Rhimes. It's like, it's like, it was clear.
Yes, it was, it was a life-changing opportunity. Like, yes, it was, yes, it would have changed my life.
Well, that's understandable that you would have a moment to be in a dark place for even a few months, because that's like a mind fuck. I would feel. I mean, I would be,
especially after a year, especially
right.
after dealing with it for a year. And again, it would have been different if I hadn't been actually offered the role. It wasn't, we're in contention between you and someone else. It was, congratulations. Can she leave the day after tomorrow? We're in the middle of getting the contracts figured out. And then 24 hours later.
Yes, you're a human. You're entitled to have a bad day on Twitter.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, everybody wants their bed, you know, and I think everyone desires to, when you've dedicated yourself to something for such a long time, you know, and I know I'm good. And there's always room for me to get better, obviously, which is why I desire to continually be in that middle space where I get to work with people that elevate my performance, and I also get to elevate others. It's a communion, like it really is. And yeah, so again, the great news is that you never know what the day is going to bring, you know, and I think that I've had enough experiences in my life that even if my ego feels a bit bruised, and even if there are parts of self that feel very disappointed, there is a deeper space of knowing that I'm most certainly here to do more. How that is going to manifest and what that is going to look like, I personally have no idea, but I am open to what that is going to look like.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I live my life. I mean, I know that doesn't make it easier every day, trust me, but I agree. Before we move on, I don't need to harp on this. Is there any chance that this thing will ever come back? I mean, in some other form,
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Maybe, and we will see. And that's not something that I would shy away from the basis of like, well, you fucked me every month, so no, because that I think is childish. You know, so if it comes back in some other form, I obviously I'm more than open, because it was a group of people that I really like. It was a childhood dream to work with them. Like it was somebody that I'd been a fan of for a very, very, very long time. You know, so if and when that's meant to happen, I'm open to it.
What advice would you give your, you know, young self that started out in this NYU short film and, you know, is still working? Like you said, it's a sustainable business, people come and go. What advice would you give to your young self?
Don't financially support your partners. That would be my only advice. And also within that too, it's that thing of like, every single thing, every experience that I've had in my life has led me to where I am now. And so I can't discount uh, the the lessons that I've received that have led me to this point, you know, and and for me, I'm very satisfied with my life, and I'm very thankful and grateful. So, and I think that something that happens as one gets older, or at least it's been my experience, that sometimes the dreams of the younger self need to die in order for bigger dreams to manifest. So the more time I get to spend on this wobbling rock that we call home, the more my priorities change in terms of what is truly important. And I think the biggest fear that all of us have is that of living a life living a half life, a life that hasn't been fully lived, and so for me, it's that I mean, I'm like, this might be a little too heavy for this kind of podcast, but
I like heavy conversations.
But for me, it's that thing of my biggest fear is death, and I think that most people have a similar affinity, and so I've gotten to the stage in my life where I desire to go from a fearship with death to a friendship. So by the time I get to meet death for my final wrap out time, I get to do it with a smile as opposed to kicking and screaming. So I actively because whether we're conscious of it or not, I think that like the 7-year-old is still active in here, as is the 20-year-old and the 25-year-old. We're kind of like physiological Russian dolls,
Yeah.
and those moments of discontent or fear or